Most of this chapter is comprised of Conis making her bid and her kind of speech to the rest of the Skypieans, but the end is what was really good. Really good.
One Piece, chapter 278, Conis.
Well, hello, my brothers and sisters of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, am Jim, here to bring you another review on our awesome and awe-inspiring and bodacious tale of One Piece. The last chapter saw Luffy and Isa finally becoming freed from the ruler of the sky, and we found that, of course, Conis is heading boom straight for Angel Island to try to warn the rest of Skypiea about, certainly about Enel's plan and what have you. And then, of course, we did get to see the arc Maxim as well. So a number of things happened, and that's where we left off. That's where we'll pick up. And this chapter, really, in a nutshell, I mean, we'll go through and we'll talk about each part of it. But the beginning portion of it is Nami on the arc Maxim, and really, it's Enel just kind of sitting at his throne and just sort of being this, godly-like ruler, this, and he starts telling her. She gets a little information out of him is what she does. She finds out a little bit about the whole mantra thing, and the mantra gives him kind of a premonition of what's going on in different places and when people are saying this or that. But then, if he wants, he can go and use his lightning power and, through the electricity and the waves and the electricity, I guess, and whatnot, to actually go and listen in on conversations and stuff. So this guy's like his own, he's like his own NSA, basically can listen in to whatever you're talking about, and I don't even think your thoughts are safe because of the mantra power and everything else, and him kind of be able to predict things that are going to happen. So that's really kind of the first chunk of it. What it serves to show is just how powerful he is, and of course his reach is all of Skypiea. So it's like, okay, no wonder you've got yourself into thinking you're a god. I mean, you're invincible. You can rule over people with an iron fist because anybody who says anything against you, you can sense it, then hear the conversation for the details and incriminating evidence, and then boom, shockwave of lightning fries your ass, So, blasphemer! So it's really kind of neat to see. For me, it's neat to see someone in almost like the abuse of power, right? I mean, obviously, before he came upon or ate this devil fruit that gave him the power, he was not like this. Maybe he was egotistical, maybe this just amped it up. But certainly, he probably didn't think of himself as a god. But the power, can come and corrupt the mind and can make you think that you're better or above anybody else, whether you believe that you're untouchable by the law or whether you believe, in his case, that you're a god, just because of the strength of which you possess now, So very, very neat stuff. Very neat stuff. The next portion of the chapter and the bulk of it, and the chapter is actually named Conis, and Conis goes and she gets to, it's kind of funny because you see that Captain McKinley or whatever, he's like, oh, she's coming on this waiver, stop her, right? And if you remember, Nami rode up on the beach and jacked him up when he was talking about paying the fines and all that before. And smashed his face in. And Conis does the exact same thing. If you look back like 40 chapters ago, it's almost the exact same drawn panel with McKinley's face there getting smashed by a waiver. It's just Conis riding one who looks enough like Nami anyway, the way she's drawn. But it's very, very, very funny. And like I said, I mean, the two panels are drawn in the exact same way, So McKinley gets his ass, smashed in, his face smashed in again. But basically, she's just trying, she's like, please, and you guys got to listen to me. Everybody get together now. Go to Cloud's End. The god, she's trying to spit all this stuff out, There's this arc, and the god, he's going to kill everybody, And McKinley's just like, go arrest her. And then she goes and she's like, no, nobody will listen to her. So she goes and pulls out this bazooka that she's got, And it's like, it's a burn bazooka or whatever, And people were throwing stuff at her, So really, it was just a number of pages of her. The idea was this was supposed to be the revolutionary, let's not live like sheep anymore. Let's not live in fear anymore. Let's not let it be okay to just get by, right? As long as you look out for yourself, which has really been the kind of motto of everybody. Nobody really wants to go out of their way to help anybody else because if it's something that offends the god, Enel, they're screwed. Their whole family's screwed. Their whole being is screwed. So people live in constant fear. And this is supposed to serve as like that revolutionary, like rise up and fight against and fight the power. And plus we need to save our lives anyway, but this God doesn't care for us. And, and people they live in fear of him. They're not really, they don't have respect for him, really. It's the fear, So she goes on to explain about how, what happened to her father and one of, obviously one of his servants or whatever, that had escaped, that had gotten out and told her, what had happened and told her to warn everybody, begged her to warn everybody. And she's just trying to get this through to everybody. The problem that I have with it is that Conis has not been developed much over the course of the arc as a character. She was introduced at the beginning for a few chapters, and then pretty much we didn't hear shit from her after a while. We knew that she kind of tried to lure them into that trap to get them on there to go to the tests and everything, the challenges, but nobody really cared because they knew she was kind of cornered and trapped anyway. And my point is that she hasn't developed much as a character, and you don't really have any sense that she had any kind of backbone anyway, so it doesn't really make you feel, for me, it doesn't make you feel as much for it. There's not as much weight behind it, because it's almost like, I can't take you seriously. Like, you just, you know what I mean? You don't care for it. Maybe it's because she lost her father and everything else that you're then supposed to be like, well, now she's hurt, and now she's finally going to go and speak against the god. But she's going to do it now that, like, it's either do that or, like, the whole Skypiea gets destroyed. So to me, like I said, it just doesn't carry as much weight now, because, like, where were you when people really, really needed you to stand up for them? And again, just my opinion, my 2 cents on it. Although it is moving, it's not as moving as I think it was intended to be, for me anyway, and that's just because of the underdevelopment of the character of Conis, you know what I mean? For the most part, you're just like, her and her fight, you just kind of laughed at, and you're like, oh, Jesus, you know, you didn't feel their struggle, at least I didn't. But it is kind of cool, though, because you get to see the Skypieans start to go and have a little bit of fear and self-doubt and start to think about it, and really, I mean, he's not this good god, you know what I mean? So, and she even said, she's like, you don't need to pray to him and everything else, and she even does this thing where she's just like, she says, I don't believe in him, I don't believe there is any god, and then everybody's like, oh, stand away, because whenever anybody says that, of course, it's heard by Enel, and then Enel strikes him down with this huge, you know, cone of lightning shock stuff that he does, that El Thor. So waits a few seconds, it doesn't happen, and she's like, yeah, of course it's not going to happen to me now, because this is the end for everything. I'm insignificant to him at this point, you know? So that's really what the meat and potatoes of that chapter was, but then the end, for me, was the best part. The end was the best, because right before it cut to her, Enel was saying something, he kind of became a little bit distant, and Nami was like, wait, what's going on? And he's like, is that... And I thought that, and then it went right to Conis, so I thought maybe at first when I read the chapter that he was talking about what Conis was doing, causing this commotion and problems amongst the Skypieans on Angel Island. No, we wind up seeing Luffy and Isa, and Luffy's like, are you sure? And Isa's like, yep, down this hole, and they go and drop down there, and the next thing you know, Enel's like, oh yeah, damn it, and then Enel's all pissed off because he's like, that wasn't part of my 5, you know what I mean, his whole prediction, my prediction was not true, but the point of it is that Luffy and Isa have found the Arc Maxim because of Isa's ability to be able to hear that, and the chapter goes and ends off with, oh, it's so great, man, you get, the page leading up to it's nice, because we just get, you know, we get an out, how truly irritating, it means my prophecy was wrong, and then we just get, are you the guy? Are you Enel? I just picture that, you know, like, hey, are you the guy? Are you Enel? And you just get, and now he's like, what? Oh, and she gets a big old shit-eating grin on her face right there. Why? Because they're Luffy! And then you get the end of it, and he's just like, what did you do to my crew? And then Enel is just like, which pieces of garbage are you referring to? And I'm like, oh, you son of a bitch. But that's where the chapter ends off, man. And it's just, like I said, the panel... just the whole double-page spread was drawn well. You have the Arc Maxim just huge and imposing over her, and Enel sitting up there, and Luffy just standing at the bottom of it, man. And just, what did you do to my crew? Oh, man, are you the guy? Are you Enel? And oh, man, just sends chills down my spine, you know? So definitely a good way to end the chapter off. My chapter question for you is, though, folks, and let's go back to what I did talk a little bit about and kind of went on a little mini tangent about, and that would be Conis. What were your thoughts on Conis and Pagaya as characters within this arc, at least thus far? I'm sure it's not over yet, but it seems that we've kind of hit the crescendo, and we're now going to come to the end fairly soon. So I don't know if it's like 10 or 20 chapters more, but my point is what are your thoughts on Conis and Pagaya? You know, just as the background characters that they are, the supporting characters in this arc, but do you think that they were underdeveloped, or do you think they were developed enough, or what are your thoughts? Leave your answer to that question in the comments down below. Feel free to hit the thumbs up, the like button if you should think that I deserve it, and maybe subscribe if you haven't done so already. We will look forward to catching all of you in the next one, Nation.
Well, shit cakes and applesauce. Go on over to my Facebook or Instagram page to see more.